Okay, so the next fight from episode 3 was the Josh Newson versus Fabricio Berrun fight. This was a decent fight. It wasn't a great fight, but it definitely wasn't a bad fight. Both guys showed heart. Both guys fought hard. Both guys showed promise, and both guys showed inexperience. So it was really what you would expect from the reality show and the guys in the first round. Taking their first crack at slap fighting. I think that this was probably more what I was expecting as far as the level of competition and experience goes, compared to the first two episodes where it just didn't look like it was their first time at all. But this was like a step above the Stevie Ray fight, which was absolute trash if you've seen that video. So this was more of what I was expecting coming into the season as far as like the quality of the matches go. But yeah, so neither guy looked big for the weight class. I could see both of them dropping to 170. But we'll start with Josh. I believe he's from North Carolina. He has some combat experience in the military. So first and foremost, Josh, thank you for your service. Fabricio is a kid from Pennsylvania. No combat sports experience that I know of. I don't believe he mentioned any. So I wasn't really sure what to think of Fabricio, but coming in, I definitely had a feeling that Josh would be good. I mean, anybody that has combat experience in the military, I mean, they're going to be tough first and foremost. And so, yeah, I had a feeling that he was going to be good, and was a bit unsure about Fabricio and how he was going to do, but that guy showed a chin, man. That guy has a granite chin. I was super impressed with Fabricio's chin. His striking looked pretty sloppy, but you can work on that. You really can't teach somebody to have a chin, so the hard part's done for him. But yeah, anyway, so Josh won the toss and was slapping first, and it wasn't the best slap. He has kind of like a Alan Klingbeil windup. It was I didn't mind it, but yeah, it looked like Alan Klingbeil. The strike seemed deep on the face to me. I thought that it could have been a club, but again, really have noticed that they're just gonna let these go if it's close. They're really gonna let these go if it's close. I think that it's kind of a problem because you might be showing the competitors on the show what's okay, whereas I don't think that they're letting these go nearly as much on the actual power slap event. So I'm curious to see how that'll translate, because some of the guys have been getting away with shots that I think could have been clubs, and I think that on like a power slap numbered card might be called as a club. So curious to see how that translates. But yeah, anyway, on Josh's first slap, I thought it could have been a club. They didn't call it. Great chin by Fabricio. This kid, he took some shots, dude. And I was impressed because he wasn't flinching at all. He didn't even look afraid to take the strike. So again, just beyond impressed with Fabricio's chin. I thought he was undersized, and he was just able to eat these shots. But regardless, they didn't call Josh for the first slap, or they didn't call him for a club on the first slap. And then on Fabricio's first slap, it wasn't a great one. It was high. I think that was a theme throughout the match for him, was his accuracy. He seemed to be missing high consistently. I think a lot of the guys from the show that are missing are tending to miss high. Isaac was missing high a decent amount. So that just goes with, the lack of experience and the limited amount of times that you've thrown an actual shot at someone's face. I mean, a bob is one thing, but when you're on a stage with somebody who's bracing and with everybody looking at you, I mean, it's completely different. So yeah, it wasn't a great slap, was high. And so Josh definitely won that round, in my opinion. If they're not going to call the club, it was a bigger shot. So I think it was 1-0 for Josh. And then on Josh's second slap, it was a club. It was funny because it looked pretty similar to the first one, but they didn't call the first one. I guess it was it was worse than the first one, but it was pretty similar. And even Dana was like, if that's not a club, I don't know what is. So yeah, it was definitely a club. And Fabricio just ate it, man. That kid, yeah, again, I just couldn't be more impressed with that kid's chin. He was able to eat it. But yeah, Josh got hit with a clubbing foul, so he obviously lost a point there. And then on Fabricio's second slap, it was high again. It was high again. But it was a good chin by Josh. Josh definitely showed he had a chin, but I don't think that Josh was able to show that he had a chin as much because, again, Fabricio was tend to missing high. So he really wasn't connecting clean enough for Josh to be able to really show off his chin. But Josh was able to eat it, and he definitely has a chin. It looks solid. And then on Josh's third slap, man, this was a monster shot. This was a monster shot. It was a great shot, big power, knocked Fabricio down. Such an impressive recovery from Fabricio. I don't know how many times I can say it. This kid's chin is ridiculous. Great heart. Never looked like he wanted to quit at all. Was never afraid to take the strike. And that's the hardest thing. You can't teach somebody that. Again, you can't teach somebody that. You can see, like in the curve fight, he was just so consistently flinching. He just wasn't able to bite down and stay still and absorb the strike without flinching. So that was not a problem for Fabricio. Again, was just super impressed. He was able to recover. And also, it was great coaching from Trujillo. So I don't know what happened to Trujillo because I was super critical of him in the Dakota fight. And I think that either he was able to reflect on it or maybe he just heard Turpin so much that it kind of flipped a switch on him. But he looked like a different coach. He looked like a different coach, giving great advice, motivating, was chirping a little bit more than he normally does, trying to induce the ref. So it was just great to see from Trujillo because that's what these guys deserve. They need this. This is their first time going around, so they really need that guidance and they need that help in case it goes to a decision. In this case, there was nothing to really sway as far as the judges go because it was pretty clear decision win for Josh. But yeah, anyway, monster shot by Josh on the third slap. And then on Fabricio's third slap, Josh ended up flinching. So yeah, bit of lack of experience from Josh. And Fabio's second strike after the flinch, it looked like a club, but there was also a little movement again. So I think it was fine to leave it. I'd rather a no call than call one and not the other. Again, the reffing is all about consistency. They're really going to tend to let things that are close go. So I think that, yeah, I'd much rather a no call than call one and not the other. So yeah, it's clear third round win for Josh. This kid, I wish we got to see a little bit more of him. I'm curious to see how he does going forward. Again, I think he's a little undersized, but he showed some big power. Big power. The first two slaps were, I thought they both could have been clubs, but the first one was deep and the second one was definitely a club. But the third one, I mean, this was what he can do. And so this was, I wouldn't say that Josh came out of it looking good because, again, he had a clubbing foul, had a flinching foul, but definitely showed that he's got some big power. And then for Fabricio, yeah, I'd love to see him move down to 170 and also clean up his striking because he was able to take Josh's shots at middleweight. I mean, imagine what he can take at 170, bringing that chin down in power slap. If you can't rock somebody or really put together some strikes, you're just not going to win, man. You just can't win fights if you can't put people down or at least put some big damage on people. So, yeah, for Fabricio, definitely got to work on his striking. But his chin looked amazing, and I'd love to see him move down to 170. I think he'd be much better off. I think you will see him again at some point, but I'm not sure when. I think that he's just got to, let the people, the brass at Power Slap, know that he's available on call 24/7. Be ready, stay close to weight, and I think that eventually we'll end up seeing him again. Josh, obviously he won, so we're definitely going to see him again. Even if Josh lost, we definitely see him again. Again, he showed some big promise, but definitely lack of experience. So yeah, it was a pretty decent fight. Wasn't great, wasn't bad. Curious to see what both guys do in the future.